Well, welcome to the Crew Coffee Convos, and Convo is short for conversations.
Yes.
Convocation.
You get the idea. But we're so excited that you are joining us. And Drew, could you just briefly share for us the overview of this summer and what these are going to be like?
Yeah, so we're just going to be walking through the book of Mark, and you've already received the devotional. There's going to be one of those every week, and we're just looking at the first 8 chapters of Mark. Because what Mark does in these first 8 chapters, he gives us stories. And all these stories, they bring to light a new, like a facet of Jesus and his character. And so we're just going to walk through a couple of stories, and the goal is that we just get to know Jesus a little better. I mean, he was a real person. He really walked on this earth, and Mark gives us a really down-to-earth perspective of like who Jesus was. So that's our goal, is just to walk through Mark and know Jesus a little better.
And we see a lot of the stories throughout Mark and encounters with Jesus, really, and how when people intersect, when their lives intersect with Jesus, they leave changed, they leave differently. And that's what our goal is that as we see Jesus more clearly, as you're seeing Jesus more clearly, we'll leave changed, we'll leave differently.
So if we could condense the two goals, it's to know Jesus and have that knowledge shape our life. So we're going for know and shape. That's the goal for this summer.
That's awesome. You know, if you haven't done the study guide yet, go ahead and do that before you listen to this video. This is going to be pretty applicational, just how the passage has changed us. You know, I want to start on the first question, just about the leper. And as he comes to Jesus and just his sickness, throughout the Gospels, we see that people come to Christ, the great physician, to have physical healing. But the ultimate healing that we need is a spiritual healing. We need our souls healed. We have this sickness called sin. And, you know, I don't think you guys are lepers today.
Not today.
You don't look like it. Your nose isn't falling off. Your ears aren't detached.
Still got my fingers.
They're still there. So how do we apply this passage to us in light of we're not lepers, but yet we still need the great physician?
Yeah, well, if sickness is kind of parallel to sin, I think a lot of the effects of leprosy are some of the effects like I've dealt with sin in my life. So I think specifically like leprosy caused like isolation, caused exclusion from those around him, and it was also like hopeless. I mean, you got leprosy, it was a death sentence. Yeah. And definitely walking through my life, like I have had some real times of hopelessness. Like sin when you're engaged in sin, it brings hopelessness. Yeah. And I feel like, man, when I read about the leper, I'm like, yeah, that's me sometimes. Like I feel dirty, I feel isolated from people because they don't know my secrets. I feel excluded, and I feel hopeless. Like not every day, but there are definitely times when sin it's heavy in it, and it feels a lot like leprosy probably would have felt like.
You know, it's like even if you have a disagreement with a friend or your parents, you don't want to be around them.
Yeah.
You want to be isolated.
Absolutely.
And sin always brings isolation.
Absolutely.
It brings exclusion. It brings covering.
And even the response of that one specific leper is, yeah, he's feeling the isolation, the exclusion. He chooses to do the unthinkable and actually approach somebody else, someone who is clean, because he heard a rumor, he heard something from someone that Jesus could perform miracles. So he comes in really faith is what we see from him. And that's really what separates him from the rest of the lepers in the colony, is like he was the one who decided to leave the colony and seek out Jesus and come to him in faith on his knees. And the passage says that he was imploring him and asking him. So it's like everything he had was going into his asking Jesus. And it was even in his question, there's faith.
I think my struggle in just the application for me is I don't often see myself as a leper. Mm. I see myself as a good person. I see myself not really needing Jesus. You know, more I've got a little scrape, or, you know, more of something that's just a little bit of a hindrance, but I don't see the sin of my life as the debilitating sickness that I need a Savior.
Totally. And I think sometimes we can feel that way. Sometimes it's like, wow, I blew it and I really feel like the leper. But I feel like the Bible portrays us as like constantly in that state of just like needing massive amounts of grace.
Yeah. It's that daily needing the
daily
grace of Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good. The other side of this is you look at the life of the leper, his need for a Savior. But you also think about Jesus, the disciples. And here they are, they're walking down the road, and this leper comes. And you see how Jesus' compassion for the leper was extraordinary.
Yeah.
You see the response of the disciples, and you just imagine the response of the disciples, and you say, wow, I don't want this guy near me. Just looking at Christ's response, how does that speak to you?
Yeah, it's just incredible, really. You see how the heart of Jesus is a heart of compassion, a heart of love, and he is seeking out people who are unclean. He's seeking out people that everyone else would run from.
Yeah.
And yet Jesus walks towards them. And that just is a huge illustration of us in our state, in our sinfulness. Even as Christians, we fall back into sin, yet Jesus, in his pity, looks upon our state.
This makes Jesus look so glorious.
Right. And it's amazing the more and more we consider the fact that Jesus had pity on a man that was socially outcast in this disease, and yet he sees our sickness of our hearts, has compassion upon us, and went to extreme lengths to show us that.
Yeah, it's the extreme length part that really jumped out to me, because like on one hand you have like God, like Jesus was Lord, the creator, he was the one who's sustaining the universe. And then you had literally the bottom of the social totem pole, right? Like the leper, the outcast. And the distance there is just insane. But then also, it's still the same. It's like Jesus, God, the Father, Lord of everything, creator, sustainer of the universe, and me, like, who is a rebel in his eyes, right? And there's that huge distance, and sometimes I really feel the weight of that distance, but it's like, and this is Jesus. This is the heart of Jesus. Like, he has compassion, and when I've found myself in the hopeless places, God has actually used this passage a lot, just like, there's no reason to cower in hopelessness because of what sin does. It's because Jesus has that kind of heart where he looks across this great gap with just such deep compassion that, like, I know, like, he's always somewhere, like Jake was saying, I can run to in faith. There's no reason for me to be the leper staying in the colony when Jesus is there with a heart like we've seen that he has here.
That's really good. Well, if you guys don't have anything else to say or add, I've been blessed by just even our conversation and the study of this and seeing Jesus more vividly. And, teens, our hope for you is that you would see Jesus more vividly as well. That you would see him as vital in your life. He is the life giver, and he is the great physician of our souls. And so maybe you feel as if you're the leper today. You're discouraged. You feel isolated. Come to Jesus. He has open arms. He is ready to heal the brokenhearted. And I'm so thankful that that's who our Savior is. He is a good shepherd and Savior for us. Well, we look forward to next week. Does anybody know off the top of our head what our passage is for next week?
Yeah, next week we're going to be looking at Jesus cleansing or healing the paralytic, the classic story of them breaking through the roof. So I'm super pumped for what we're going to see about Jesus and the lessons we can learn from that next week.
That's great.
Sweet.
Well, until next time, we'll look forward to that. But hopefully you have a great rest of your day. Take care.
Hey guys, thanks so much for joining us this week on Crew Coffee Convos. If you guys want to see a dramatized version of the lesson that we just went through today on Jesus cleansing the leper, you can check out the Chosen's rendition of this story right here. And then if you'd also like to see other videos that we'll be posting in the future on this specific channel in this playlist, check out our playlist right here. There will also be in the description right below the PDF of the lesson today if you happen to miss that or didn't get the email. So check out the PDF of the lesson right there. See you next week.